at least once a year I like to get on the bike and go for a good long ride. I thought I'd share a few of the key statistics of this ride and a few elements of the bike itself. Here are some of the basics. The bike is a 1250 GSA, bought in March 2019. Right now it's got 44,350 kilometres on the clock. At the start of the trip it had 33,890. Trip was 14 days, 10,460 kilometres on the trip, averaged 750 kilometres of riding a day. Last 2 days on the return from Clare, South Australia to Border Village, 1,140 kilometres. Last day, Border Village, home, 1,500 kilometres. Best days, that was in the snowy mountains, incredible. From Jindabyne south on the Barry Way and in the Snowy River Road and around and across to Mount Hotham. Bloody brilliant. Anyway, let's have a bit of a look at the journey. See if I can do this with a stick. See how we go. If we come in a bit from Perth across to Hyden, Norseman, and then on the air highway across to Border Village, Ceduna, and from Ceduna hugged the coast and went down to Port Lincoln and then up through Port Augusta, and from Port Augusta through Wilmington, and then on the Barrier Highway through Broken Hill. See if I can chase this with the camera. Broken Hill, Wilcannia, Nyngan, and ended up going through a little town called Dunedoo. Hell of a name, isn't it? Down to Mudgee. This is my old stomping ground through here. Orange. After Mudgee, across to Lithgow, and down the Bellsliner Road towards Sydney, back up to Bathurst, did a few laps of Mount Panorama, got to Orange and changed the rear tyre in Orange. I think I had about 4,500 k's on that tyre in Orange. Still had plenty of beef on it. That was we'll talk a bit more about the tyres a bit later. From there headed south, eventually down to Jindabyne. Spent a day at Jindabyne, or overnighted at Jindabyne, then did a big loop around the Kosciuszko Park area. That was 1 day of riding, pretty intense riding. From Jindabyne, headed south on the Barry Way, and then down into Victoria on the Snowy River Road, down towards Bairnsdale, and then cross and then up to Mount Hotham and up to Bright, and on to Echuca. That ride was just brilliant. That was the highlight of the trip by far. Can recommend the Barry Way and the Snowy River Road. Just brilliant riding. Anyway, from Echuca, decided I need to go down and do one last ride of the from Warrnambool to Apollo Bay on the what's it called? It's a pretty famous road. I can't think of the name of it right now. Wouldn't recommend it anymore. Too much traffic. Anyway, from there to Mount Gambier, and made my way up to the Barossa, actually to Clare, wherever that is, and then from Clare through Port Augusta, and then straight across Ceduna and across to Border Village. From Clare to Border Village was 1 day of riding. I think that was about 1,400 k's. 1,140 kilometres. And then from Border Village home, which is about 1,500 k's, another day. So that's the ride. A lot of riding, a lot of fun. What I'd like to do now is just take you and show you the bike, see what it looks like after more than 10,000 kilometres put on it. So here's the bike after a bit over 10,000 kilometres of hard riding on just about every surface you can imagine, from long hard kilometres on bitumen, straight kilometres including the 90-mile straight, quite a few dirt kilometres, and some mountain riding, some real twisty hard riding up in the Kosciuszko National Park and in the Snowy Mountains. Quite a bit of dirt riding there up and down, and some quite dangerous tracks actually in the on the Snowy River Road. Up towards Mount Hotham, just a lot of twisties and hard bitumen riding, and then home with a lot of straight long distance riding in the heat. That front tyre has done the full trip, over 10,000 k's. The rear tyre has done just over half that distance. I changed it in orange. To my utter amazement, those Continental Twinduros have just performed absolutely superbly, and the Continental Twinduro on the back there, it looks like it's a fairly new design from Continental for the 1250 and that size bike. Flawless, absolutely flawless performance on the bitumen, in the twisties, long straight stretches. In fact, let's have a look at the tyres. Let's just start on the tyres actually. So there you go. That's 10,000 k's of pretty intense riding. Cannot complain about that. I've had some difficulties with the front Twinduro. These tyres have on a regular basis blistered. You can go to some of my other videos to see that. But this tyre has performed very well, no problems at all. Let's have a look at the rear. So this tyre has come from Orange in New South Wales, so it's crossed the country. It's done all of the Barry Way, the Snowy Mountain Road, all of the mountain riding, all of the long distance riding on straight desert roads, bitumen roads in the heat. So this tyre has got just over 5,000 kilometres on the clock. Just have a look at that. For all of those people who don't think the Twinduro is a good endurance tyre for adventure riding, this new one is a bloody beauty. It's just about gone now. The last couple of thousand kilometres has been really taxing. It's been straight, flat roads in the heat. A most impressive tyre. In fact, I highly recommend this Twinduro for adventure riding. This new generation. Beautiful. That's my heat shield. I had so many kilometres of straight kilometres, just steady 110 kilometres an hour in the heat, with wind coming from a particular direction. I got the bag sort of hung, you'll see in another photo, the bag sort of hangs out the back there, and the heat got to it a bit, so in Ceduna, no it wasn't, it was at Balladonia on the way out, so it happened very early in the trip. I had a beer and asked them there for the carton, and I took the carton about 10,000 kilometres ago. There you go. Corona Extra has worked a treat as a heat shield in the rain and the heat. There you go. Just walk you around the bike. In the whole trip, I had one issue and it was with the TFT screen. I've got it off right now, but in fact you can see it there. You see there's just a little line there. Don't know what's going on there, but that's the full extent of the dramas I've had with this bike. Let's just continue around. The design of the fairing on this thing is superb. That little fairing right now is the setting I settled on for the bulk of the long distance riding. It's not at its full down position. It's up a little bit, but that was it. I'm 6'2", and by crikey that performed superbly, combined with the way the design down here protects the legs. What else can I tell you? Not much. Just a flawless performance with the big 1250. Okay, so probably time I gave it a wash, and a couple of weeks after it went in for a major service, it goes back for another major 10,000k service at Auto Classic in Vic Park. That seat, perfect. Wouldn't change it. The heat shield that I've got there, on the 1150, my older bike, I had a doubled up heat shield, so two aluminium plates separated with a gap. That worked better than this, of course, but this works pretty well. In all but many hours with the bike steady at 110 kilometres an hour or thereabouts in the heat, with wind coming from a particular direction that didn't allow the hot air to dissipate very well. I needed to put in the Corona shield. Just one final thing on the handlebars. There's that Mobber More thing here. It's for my iPhone. Brilliant. Every now and again I just needed the iPhone handy on the bars, and that's where it went. Spot tracker did a good job. I might include a couple of spot tracker sections in the video if I can organise it. Little bag with gear, little headlamp. Down tucked in there is a tourniquet in that pouch. That's about it. R1250 GSA.